Alright, hello. This is the second worksheet for Chapter 8. Second worksheet for Week 1, Chapter 8. And hopefully you didn't have any trouble getting through Chapter 7 worksheets. But again, all images that are within these worksheets, these images are in the public domain, and most of them are linked to the site in which they were copied from. The first page here, hopefully this will work for you, but this is a link to a YouTube video, a short little video about George Washington. It comes from the series John Adams from HBO, and I would encourage you to watch the first and second episode. I believe it's about a 6-part series. But the first and second episode would really be good to watch and get through. A little bit more of an introduction of John Adams and the Boston Massacre and the First and Second Continental Congress. That's the HBO John Adams series. A good part of it is available on YouTube. So email me if you have any questions about getting a link to that site. But I think that would be very helpful for you to get a little bit better grasp of Chapter 7 and 8. Okay, this first page here, Chapter 8, and ask you to watch that short, maybe a 5 or 10 minute video. Again, it's a YouTube video clip, General George Washington. The link is not going to work here, but it should work either a PDF or a Word document. The video is embedded. Hopefully that'll work for you. But take a look here. This second question asks you, despite the description of Washington here, let's look at this. Washington was a distinguished Virginian, gifted with outstanding powers of leadership, immense strength of character, radiated patience, courage, self-discipline, sense of justice. He was a great moral force rather than a great military mind, a symbol and a rallying point. People instinctively trusted him, and they sensed that when he put himself at the head of a cause, he was prepared, if necessary, to go down with the ship. Despite all of this, what was the most important quality, the most important character trait of George Washington? And your book suggests that of all that, the most important thing was he was from Virginia. And politics are politics. He was from Virginia. The colonial leaders needed a rich, wealthy Virginian to rally the South to the cause. Okay, on this page, take particular notice here of questions 11, 12, and 13. What did most Americans consider fundamental in any successful Republican government? And according to Thomas Paine, the collective good of the people mattered more than what? And the most conservative Republicans feared the fervor for liberty would overwhelm what? And these can be found on page 137. So you look at this paragraph here, and when it talks about most Americans considered the citizen's, and here we'll underline this, a citizen's virtue fundamental to any successful Republican government. And then number 12, the collective good of the people mattered more than any private rights and interests of individuals. The collective good of the people mattered. The collective good of the people mattered more than any individual private rights or interests. Paine was very inspirational to the contemporaries of his time. And then we also look at number 13 here. And the question talks about these conservative Republicans feared that the fervor of liberty would overwhelm the stability of social order, and they watched with trepidation as the lower orders of society, the poorer farmers, tenants, and laboring classes in towns and cities, seemed to embrace a kind of runaway republicanism. So those are kind of difficult things to look at in a lot of detail, but those are kind of the answers to number 11, 12, and 13. Okay, now, in addition, I just thought it was kind of interesting here. There's a question here later on that asks, well, hold on a second. Let's look at this patriotism and loyalists. The patriots and loyalists section, these are the answers to questions 17, 18, and 19. So, question asks, what were the loyalists derisively called? And question here about, according to the popular definition of a Tory, and then the birds of Virginia. So, let me look at this here. We're talking about the loyalists here, derisively called the Tories after dominant political faction in Britain. And then the 18, I like this. A Tory is a thing whose head is in England, body in America, but its neck is very stretched. And then the birds of Virginia were neutral. They sat on the fence. And then I have some fireworks on here because the question number 15, question number 15, John Adams confidently predicted that what date would annually be celebrated with fireworks. So you can blow these up. The fireworks, yeah, I'm having a little bit too much fun here, but the fireworks, I'll give you a hint, it is not July 4th. So John Adams confidently predicted, he was very confident, confidently predicted what date would annually be celebrated with fireworks. He was wrong. On the next page, take a look at the Revolutionary War a little bit, and there's a question here about General Benedict Arnold. Take a look at that. There's also this question about this Quaker-reared tactician in the Carolina campaign of 1781. This is Nathaniel Greene, and I just thought I'd call your attention to the fact that Mel Gibson in The Patriot, his character, very, very loosely, was based off of several characters, but one in which was Nathaniel Greene, and his kind of hit-and-miss tactical approach to hitting the British. The British hated this, and they felt like the Americans did not fight fairly. But if you ever have a chance to watch Mel Gibson in The Patriot, it's entertaining. I don't know how historically accurate it is, but it's entertaining. And then in addition, there's a question here about the way in which Benjamin Franklin was perceived by Parisians and his diplomatic approach. And so again, if you would watch some of the series John Adams on HBO, they do a very good job of showing Benjamin Franklin and John Adams in their trip to Paris. And so this is just a short video clip of that, again on YouTube. So you can just look up John Adams meets King Louis of France, but a good part of this is also Benjamin Franklin. I might play a little bit of it for you if I can get it to work. Well, go to that website, YouTube, and search HBO John Adams meets King Louis of France. As you can see, it's about a 6-minute clip. Last page here, a couple questions about the end of the war, and just call your attention to the fact that the American privateers, these private ships, were very important to the naval victories that the American, and in particular the French, had against the British. That concludes kind of a review of the questions, the homework for Week 1, Chapter 8. Please don't hesitate to email or give a call if you have any questions regarding this assignment.